Gachiakuta, and today we're going to be talking about something very special. And if you're a fan of Fire Force or Soul Eater, you're definitely going to get a kick out of this. With the end of Fire Force and the announcement of Atsushi Ohkubo's new work, Soul World, we actually got another series. But this isn't your average manga, because this is from what Atsushi Ohkubo, the creator of Soul Eater, deems to be his successor. Not just any ordinary assistant, but his successor is making this brand new manga. And man, with just very few chapters, it already seems like it's shaping up to be exactly what I wanted out of Fire Force. But not only this, it seems that between Fire Force, Soul Eater, and Gachiakuda, all of these series just so happen to have some of the same themes. And I know it may be really soon to say this, but it seems like Gachiyakuda is shaping up to be, or might actually be, connected to Fire Force and or Soul Eater. Because as you Fire Force fans may already know, when we were speculating about whether or not Soul Eater was connected to Fire Force, we were able to find these connections early because of Fire Force and Soul Eater both sharing the same universal concepts. Now, whether or not Gachiakuda is connected to Soul Eater and or Fire Force, I'm going to save that for its own video because that's a lot to discuss. But in the meantime, just in case you aren't already convinced to check out this manga, I'll explain one connection and then try to sell you on it, if the possibility of both mangas being connected wasn't enough to get you to read it. We are first reading Gachiakuda, literally the first page. It is said that soul dwells in things that are cherished. Then what dwells in trash that has been discarded? This is very similar to a sound soul dwells within a sound mind and a sound body. And when you think about this, trash does not sound like a sound body. So it really makes you wonder what kind of story this manga is trying to tell. Just like Soul Eater, it is really trying to sell you on the concept of souls in this manga and the theme of what can and cannot have a soul. Another thing to point out is that when you look in the first panel of Gachiakuda, you can actually see the weapon taking a main focus when they refer to an object that could possibly be cherished. And the thing that makes Gachiakuda very similar to Soul Eater is the fact that they both use weapons as their main power system. And again, I'm not going to get too much into any more connections between these two series because I'd rather make that its own video. So at this point, you could either take my word for it or not, but I think there just might be a possibility that these series could potentially be connected. And if not, it still seems like an interesting manga for you to check out if you're a Soul Eater fan, because it's doing some of the same things you might have liked out of Soul Eater. If you are ever a fan of the horror elements that would occur in Soul Eater, this manga is definitely the place for you. But not only this, if you are a fan of the same style and or atmosphere that Soul Eater has, they might not exactly share the same type of style, but when it comes to just how great Soul Eater's style is and how stylistic it can be, I'd say Gachiakuda is just as stylish, if not more so. Again, if you're a fan of Fire Force or Soul Eater, you're really doing yourself a disservice by not checking this manga out. I'll say it again, it is from the successor, Ohkubo's successor. Please let that sink in. Because if you're a fan, I'll say it again, of Soul Eater and Fire Force, you absolutely need to check this out. But if you're a more generalized viewer watching this video, let's say you're not a fan of Soul Eater and Fire Force, or maybe you are a fan and you're still not sold on Gachiakuda, I'm gonna try my best to put you on this gas without spoiling it. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil the first chapter because you can easily just check that out, and I feel like the first chapter by itself is good enough to sell you on the manga because it gives you a good idea on what direction the story is going. Unlike most mangas that you can't really judge based off of the first chapter. The world of Gachiakuda really gives you this Borderlands-esque type of vibe with how over the top the characters' expressions can be. But let's actually take Borderlands and dial back the fun factor a little more and turn up the more serious, depressing and washed out color palette. So I'd say this manga is as expressionate as Borderlands, but it has the same sense of style and atmosphere like Rage. If you haven't actually played these games, I hope these cases actually give you a good look on what kind of games they are, so you can get a good sense of idea on what exactly this manga is offering you. And this would simply be me just describing one piece of the world. I haven't even talked about the giant trash monsters that exist in the abyss of Gachiakuta. Nor have I talked about the disturbing sense of authority and cleanliness, the White Room-esque atmosphere that the Sky People bring to the series, sending those who they deem as filthy to the dark reaches of the abyss. Keeping the tribesfolk, the people who are poor, the people who they do see as filthy, wake up to the view of the constant darkness of that same abyss on the day-to-day basis, giving them the constant fear and sense of anxiety that they one day will get casted aside like the trash that they think they are. And when it comes to the actual art, Kei Urana's use of perspective is absolutely powerful. Absolutely powerful. You really get a sense of the action in this manga, and I absolutely love it. This is the perfect mixture between the art of My Hero and Fire Force. If you ever looked at a My Hero panel or even a Dragon Ball panel and thought that it was powerful, this manga does the same exact stuff. Maybe not to the same degree as Dragon Ball, but it leaves a great impression nonetheless. And just by looking at these simple movements, I can already tell when we actually get some fight scenes in this manga, it will be an absolute joy to read. There's so much I can talk about with this manga, but I really do not want to get into the spoilers. If you haven't already, please go out there and check out the first chapter of Gachiakuda. If you aren't sold by the potential connection of Soul Eater, or if you're not even sold by the unique sense of atmosphere and style that this manga has, I can guarantee you, if you read the first chapter, the story in itself will be enough to get your interest. I really want to talk about the story, but dude, I really do not want to spoil the first chapter. Please, I will say it one last time because there's so much of the story that I can talk about, but I really want to save your impressions. Just go out and read that damn manga. You're not doing yourself a favor by sitting here and not reading it. With all that being said, I will see you guys in the next Gachiakuda video, and hopefully you'll read the manga by then, and you can watch my other videos where I talk about the story. With that, I'll see y'all later. Also, let me know what you guys think of the manga in the comment section below.